His number is hanging from the rafters here in Milwaukee. Every bit a Bucks legend. Marques was drafted 3rd overall by the Bucks, went on to become a 5-time NBA All-Star over the span of his career. He joins us now, actually pretty close where we're situated to where your number is actually hanging.
We got high up.
I wasn't going to ask you how old you actually are, but I was going to ask how old you thought you'd be when the finals would be back in Milwaukee.
64.
Okay. Well, because, all right, so that was the flawless transition to your 65th birthday. Check this out, because it's pretty impressive. Still dunking.
Oh, man, he still got bounce in them legs.
Come on, man.
Yeah, you know.
On the 65th birthday.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah, just
Man,
trying to.
that's impressive.
Well,
Wow.
it's motivation to stay in shape. You know, you got to have some motivation to do some things. I didn't know if I'd live to see 65 the way I was living for a long time, and God has blessed me with some great health. And Josiah, my son, who's the king of NBA Twitter.
Yes, he is.
That was his idea. So if you want to blame anybody, blame him.
Yeah, we will.
Listen, he still looking like he got more bounce than Grant.
Oh, no, I can't dunk. I can't dunk anymore.
You can't dunk for real?
I have bad wheels, man.
Are you serious?
I have an arthritic ankle, but not about me. Let's get back to Marques here.
Enough about Grant's
I
arthritis.
am older than these two youngins.
Okay.
So I remember just how great of a player you were.
Appreciate that.
A versatile small forward who could do it all on the court. Played here in Milwaukee, had some great years, as Kristen talked about. But just talk about what it was like playing here, the fans. You guys had some great teams, just couldn't get quite over the hump with the Celtics in the Eastern Conference. But just here in Milwaukee, we see the Deer District.
Yeah.
What's it like, this city, this community around the Bucks and this franchise?
Well, we played across the street at the old Mecca, and at that time we had the smallest arena in the league. We were seated about just under 11,000 fans, but the fans were as rabid and as enthusiastic of a fan base as you could imagine, like we're seeing here today. We had some great teams, as you mentioned, Grant, but not only the Celtics with Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, not a bad,
Yeah.
but also the Sixers.
Oh.
Trouble with them with Daryl Dawkins, Bobby Jones, and Dr. J, and then they went and picked up Moses Malone.
Yep.
And so the year that the Sixers lost the one playoff game, we had a great series against them. We beat them. We were the only team to beat them in the playoffs. The other couple of games we lost by 2 or 3 points. But you know, I used to feel that there was something lacking, not being able to get to the NBA Finals. But then you think about the kind of competition that was around in those days. You know, it's nothing to hang your head about. So we tried, but just couldn't get through.
As a Milwaukee Bucks legend, give me your advice. What would you give the Bucks advice as far as trying to come out here and win games? Ray, what do you see?
Well, guard the corner three.
Right.
That'd be number one. I mean, they gave up 17 corner threes, and Phoenix was able to knock down 10. So that's you know, you can't give up that shot. You can't help as consistently as we do off the strong side and give these guys that kind of a look. But as Chris Paul talked about, you can talk all you want to about taking away things, or who's going to guard Chris Paul, who's going to guard Devin Booker, but nobody's going to stop them. Guys on this level are so talented. The counters that they can employ against pretty much any defense, you got to find a way to be successful. I think it comes down to it. This may sound trite and cliche-ish, but just kind of imposing your will, coming out, playing harder, wanting it more, all those good things. You got to come out here and then ride this crest of energy that the fan base is going to give you at home. We're 8-1 at home during the playoffs. We play extremely well, just like Phoenix does in their home. We showed against Brooklyn down 2-0 that we can win at home against quality competition, and you got to just bring it tonight. You just got to play as hard or harder than you've ever played in your life as a basketball player, because Monty Williams, give him credit, he's got these sons, Chris Paul, they've got these sons playing at an elite level. I know that's obvious because it's the finals, but even in the finals, every time we would sniff just a hint of momentum, they make great plays. And, you know, you're down 9 in the fourth quarter, you're down 6 in the fourth quarter, games 1 and 2, means you're in the games, but they're making the plays they've got to make. Tonight, we've got to turn the tables and do that here in Milwaukee.
How would you describe, how do you quantify the impact that Giannis has had on this franchise?
Giannis has been, it's just immeasurable in terms of where he's come from, his story. It's such a great story, an American success story, but an international success story also. And for him to be a 2-time MVP, and to put up the kind of numbers that he does. And not only that, it's bigger than the numbers with him. It's how hard he works. He can have a 40-plus point game, and I see him headed to the practice facility in 20-degree weather, going to work on his free throws, and probably needs to keep working on his free throws based on what he's doing in this series. But that's the kind of mindset that he has, and I'm not surprised to see him back off that hyperextended knee. I've seen him in Portland tweak a knee and shoot around before the game and then come out and score 47 points. So he's just a phenomenal person to be around, and he's been a pleasure to get to know these last 6 years.
I'll tell you what, Marcus, I may need to step up my broadcast game. I might be like Wally Pip over here, the way you come in and breaking things down.
Yeah.
Bringing the heat over here. But no, we appreciate it. No, obviously Giannis has been great, but there's been some criticism with Chris Middleton, the other all-star on this ball club. Has been great in the Bucks wins, has struggled a little bit shooting, being efficient from the floor in their losses. So, the thought process here for Middleton, how does he go about at least having a good game, lifting this team, which we've seen him do throughout the postseason this year?
Well, he and Drew Holiday, they've got to show up tonight. They were a combined 12 for 37 or whatever it was in the last game. Chris is fine. Chris is a guy who's a second-round pick. He was a guy that played in the D League or G League or whatever they called it at that time. So his mindset, he's quite never felt like he was an elite level player until this past couple of years when he's flirted with 50, 40, 90. And so now he talked about missing shots the last game that went in and out. I went and looked at the film. 3 of his first 6 misses were just down in the hole and came out and rattled out. That can affect your confidence, especially for a guy who hasn't been given everything his whole life as a basketball player. I think tonight he has the bounce-back game that we're expecting him to have and play like Chris Middleton could play, not scoring 20, 23 and a quarter, but giving us, 25 points, 7 or 8 rebounds, 5 or 6 assists, those things that he can do consistently.
When you talk about Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday bouncing back, is there anything you want to see them specifically do early in games as a guy that can score yourself? If you came off a bad game where you're thinking, okay, I want to get 2 or 3 easy shots early, I want to get to the free throw line, was there some type of thought process like that? Or did you just say, hey, I'm going to go out there and get my buckets?
Well, he's got to be aggressive. Drew Holiday has got to be aggressive. He's got to be stronger finishing. He gets in there, but then the finishes, I don't know if he's losing focus right at the release point or whatever it is, but he's not finishing shots that he normally makes. And you guys know that's always about focus and concentration and finishing off the play. He's just got to finish off plays. It's in there. We saw it the last series, averaged 22, 10 assists against Atlanta. The last 2 games without Giannis, he and Chris just took over. And so we've got to see more of that kind of aggressiveness tonight right off the bat. And you'll understand why I'm saying this and how I'm saying it. But you got to make Chris Paul. Chris Paul is 36. He's averaged 35 minutes a game for 16 years. You got to keep that heat on his skeletal system. You got to make him have to fight through screens and chase you up and down the floor and make him have to play defense for those 35 minutes he's on the floor and see what happens. If he beats you doing that, fine, but you can't make it easy on Chris Paul. Keep the heat on Chris Paul on offense. Yes,
Love it.
Yep.
I typically ask our analysts, but I want to include you in this, Marcus. We've only got a minute left, but the keys to the game, the deciding factor in who wins this one, Grant?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. Middleton and Holiday have to be aggressive, efficient, and give the team something. And the complementary players for the Bucks, Connaughton, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, who explodes in this arena, have to step up and help lift this ball club.
I agree with Grant. I think Middleton and Holiday, those guys have to step up. When you talk about Giannis, he played great last game. The other guys didn't come along for the ride. They have to step up if the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be able to win Game 3 and make this a series.
I'm going to take the flip side of what Grant said. The Bucks can't allow Mikal Bridges to have a 27-point game and to hurt them the way he did in the last ball game. You can't let the support players for Phoenix, Booker, Chris Paul, they're going to get theirs. The other guys got to keep in check.